You've heard it being said, family is everything. In most cases this is true, but in other cases, an apple can fall very far from the tree, and the very people closest to us can become our very own worst nightmares. From a toxic sibling to parents who always make you feel guilty about yourself, family members can make or break you. Here are 7 types of family members to avoid. Number 1. The helicopter members. Helicopter family members are the types of members who tend to hover constantly around you, trying to control you and dictate every aspect of your life, from insisting on what type of career path you should follow, right up to the very type of person you should marry. They make it very difficult for you to make your own decisions. One common issue with helicopter members is that they often see you as someone who doesn't know what they're doing, and therefore try to make you an easy target for control and manipulation. Even if your suggestions or dreams are good, they may dismiss them and insist you follow their own plans and paths, even if it's not something you truly want. The biggest issue about this is that the longer you let these sorts of people continue to control your life, the more damage it will cause in the long run. This can be especially difficult if you are an adult trying to gain your independence and make your own way in the world. It might lead you to a path where it becomes practically very difficult for you to trust your own instincts. This is one of the root causes of low self-esteem. Constantly surrounding yourself with people who talk down on your own dreams would mean you end up living someone else's dreams rather than your own life. It is true that we sometimes need people in our lives to give us a little guidance here and there, but you shouldn't fall into the trap of being manipulated and controlled under the guise of guidance. It's worth noting that sometimes the behavior of helicopter members is driven by their own insecurities or unfulfilled dreams. They may see themselves as failures and try to live vicariously through you, pushing you to achieve things that they were unable to. Number 2. The entitled family members. Entitled family members are those who believe they are entitled to all that you have, regardless of the effort and sacrifice it took for you to achieve them. They often demand a share of everything you own, including your money, opportunities, or breakthrough, even without knowing the price you paid to get to where you are. These types of family members are never available in your days of struggles. They never see the sweats and the pains you put behind the scenes, but somehow they magically appear when things start to go well for you and become demanding and controlling overnight. In addition to being demanding and selfish, entitled family members can also change colors when their demands are not met. They become instantly angry and bitter, giving you bad names if you decline their requests or fail to meet their selfish expectations. It isn't so much about what they need, but it is how they go about getting angry when they don't get what they want. It's important to recognize when you are dealing with an entitled family member and to set boundaries to protect yourself and your own well-being. This may involve setting limits on the amount of time or resources you are willing to give, or simply saying no when their demands become unreasonable. It may also be necessary to limit your contact with these family members when necessary, as well as stick to your decisions to say no when necessary. This doesn't mean you are being wicked, but it simply means you are taking a stand on what you define as a healthy limit. The invaders. Invaders are family members that have the tendency to cross boundaries and invade every private aspect of your life. They don't believe in boundaries, and they feel like they have the right to intrude in your life at any time. They will violate your privacy and try to get themselves involved in your relationships and even your marriage. Even when you're married and starting a family of your own, invaders will give you written rules on how to treat your spouse. Take in-laws, for example. Even after you are married, these invasive figures can be found intruding where their opinions are not invited, attempting to manipulate the dynamics between you and your spouse. All of this creates an atmosphere of tension and mistrust. They will give suggestions as to how to treat your spouse. They will tell you when to file for a divorce, or suggest you marry another spouse just because she can't cook. They know each time you have a quarrel, or know when your wife comes back home late. All of this intrusiveness creates an inability for you to have a truly independent life of your own. Sure, it isn't always a bad thing to have 1 or 2 people check up on you from time to time, but when it becomes a thing where you just can't have some room for your own private life, that becomes a dangerous ground to step on. They might sometimes assume this to be a sign of care, but in reality, it's sometimes simply just a need for control. Number 4. The guilt trippers. The guilt trippers are the most manipulative family members you can encounter in life. They have the ability to make you feel guilty, even when you know you've done nothing wrong. They feed negative energy into your soul, making it harder and harder for you to understand what you did wrong. They use guilt as a way to control and manipulate you so that everything goes their way. And they don't just target you. They will bring up topics that they know will trap you. They say uncomfortable and hurtful things, attempting to make you feel bad, despite the fact that they know exactly how it will affect you. They usually make statements such as, "I can't believe you will say no to me. I have done so much for you. And you have no idea how much I've sacrificed for you." All of which are intended to make you feel bad about yourself. These statements are designed to create an underlying sense of shame and guilt to ensure that their needs and desires are met. They may also play the victim, preying upon your sympathy and guilt in order to gain their way. Sometimes, to take their tactics one step further, they can even go as far as crying just to break you down and get you to do what they want. It is important to recognize these types of family members for what they are and avoid getting caught in their web of manipulation. As long as your conscience is clear and you know you did nothing wrong, you owe no one an apology. Number 5. The Sacrificial Lambs. Sacrificial lambs are family members who think that because they once sacrificed or did something for you, you owe them for the rest of your life. Such family members often make it appear as if they are doing something for you out of kindness, when in reality, their actions have strings attached. These individuals will hold on to the things they did for you possibly years ago as a justification for their current attempts at getting something from you. Many relatives, including parents, are particularly guilty of this too. They may do a lot for their children when they are younger, but then use that as an excuse to continuously heap endless demands in return. Being constantly reminded of past sacrifices can create a sense of guilt and shame in the recipient. This can be especially damaging for children, who may internalize these messages and struggle with self-worth and independence as they grow older. It's important to know that whatever you do for others should be done out of love and not out of the need for control. When a family member continues to use their generosity and good deeds as a weapon against you, they stand in the way of your independence and growth. This is why it is important for you to become independent as soon as possible, so that others don't keep heaping insults at you in the future. Number 6. The toxic relatives. Toxic relatives are those family members who have a knack for leaving you emotionally wounded. These individuals are able to emotionally manipulate and damage your self-esteem and well-being. Even after you've moved on from their presence, the emotional scars they've left may remain long after. After being exposed to a chronic display of negative energy, it becomes increasingly difficult for you to maintain healthy relationships outside of the toxic one, as all you have ever known is continued negativity. If a family member or loved one is persistently damaging your well-being, it might be best to distance yourself until they show a willingness to change. While moving away and distancing yourself can be a difficult process, it is the most important step that you can take to protect yourself and build healthier relationships outside of the toxic ones. If it becomes necessary, take some time for yourself to heal, no matter how hard it may be. Doing so may benefit you in the long run, as you will be able to regain a sense of emotional security, peace, and well-being. Number 7. The aggressive. An aggressive member of any family can have a huge negative impact on the whole family. They may be quick to resort to verbal or physical aggression when faced with a problem. This type of individual may also have a hard time controlling their emotions and could become a ticking time bomb at any given moment. A person like this might enjoy stirring up drama and pushing your buttons in order to seek out attention. It is important to recognize the signs of an aggressive member and take steps to protect yourself and your family. If your family member has a long history of explosive anger and no attempts to change, it would be wise to limit contact with them or even keep your distance. It is essential to keep healthy boundaries and establish clear guidelines when interacting with this type of family member. It is best to focus on keeping yourself safe while continuing to express love and understanding. Ultimately, it is important to remember that you cannot change another person, and some people should be distanced from in order to maintain your own mental and physical well-being. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. If you love our videos, please feel free to subscribe to our channel.